The Lions are at home to the premiers, the Western Bulldogs. Danny Daly is joining us this morning from the Brisbane Lions. Morning to you, Danny.
Morning, boys. How are we?
Good, mate. Good.
He might be a South African background there too. You might like to see the Lions win Super Rugby too.
Danny wouldn't mind it was a Lions double.
The Lions double would be nice, wouldn't it?
How's the week been this year? Heading to take on the premiers this week.
Yeah, it's been a interesting week. Obviously, going over to Perth, which is a pretty long trip, as you boys may or may not know. But it's a 6-hour flight, so obviously with a 6-day turnaround from the game, it's been a pretty light week for our players, to be honest. So we've just got to get them recovered and fresh and ready to go against the Dogs. So we've done very little this week, and today's our main training session and meeting day. So we'll start ramping up the preparation today.
Don't know about you, Solly, or Danny. I never found the trip over to Perth. It was the coming back that used to knock you around a bit.
Did you play a game of AFL footy when you're over there too, John?
No.
Well, mate, it's right. Like, the trip over was nice. You can watch a couple of movies and relax, but the trip back's horrendous.
Yeah.
Seems to go forever, and we didn't get back till like 8 o'clock Monday night. So, yeah, tough trip, but it's the way it is, and you deal with it and you move on.
So when you do that, hazard a guess, is today your major training session?
Yeah, it's our main training session today at 4 o'clock at the Gabbers. So boys will come in about 11 and do their weights and whatnot, and we'll have a couple of meetings with them and preparation for training. We'll have match committee this morning, and as I said, we'll start ramping up our preparation today.
As far as the Bulldogs go, what have you made of their season thus far after a very good performance from them last week heading into this week? And they'll be a side looking to lift with, hopefully from their point of view, finals not all that far away, but nothing better than, I suppose, beating the premiers.
Oh, absolutely. And if you look through their form guide for the year, they've sort of been up and down, win-loss, sort of all the way through the year, but they've won their last 3, so as the commentators on the telly said, they got their mojo back a little bit. They're starting to win their contested ball a lot more and their clearances around stoppages, which was what got them to the premiership last year. So the last month they've been AFL 1 or 2 in that area. So they're starting to get their game up and about, and obviously they've got some terrific players through the midfield. Bonham Pally and McRae and Liberatore's finding a bit of the footy. So I think this week we just need to come with the ability to out-hunt them. I think sides have been able to out-hunt them around the contest have generally gone okay against them. So that's basically what our focus will be this week.
Yeah. Just going back to the game last weekend over in Perth, and what did Chris have to say? What has he said subsequently to the side about that performance?
Yeah, look, we obviously rested a few young kids last week. It's been a heavy workload for Barry McCluggage and especially probably Hippie down as forward. So we thought it was a good idea to give those guys a bit of a break. Not with the view that we couldn't win last week, but more so that we've 4 games left and 3 at home, that it was important to keep those guys fresh.
Yep.
So we brought in a couple of youngsters. Like Jacob Ellison played his first game, and obviously had Sammy Skinner play his first game. So we went over to Perth with an attitude that West Coast wanted to pump a little bit, and if we could go over there and just again, I suppose like Saturday's game, match it in contested ball, but try and beat them on the outside with our run and spread, that we'd be a chance. I think the first quarter we probably did that, but in the second quarter some of our ball usage was pretty ordinary. It was almost going back to the early days of the season where we were just making wrong decisions and basic skill errors. So the message of the day, and we kept it pretty brief after the game, to be honest, because it was such a short turnaround, was just about our skill execution, and our decision-making wasn't up to scratch, but also the same old errors, like West Coast kicked 5 goals in the space of 10 minutes, which has probably been a current theme for us up till probably 4 weeks ago. So it reared its ugly head again. So we just showed the players the 5 or 10 minutes of that period where West Coast basically won the game, kicked 6 goals. And it was mainly due to a lot of our errors and our inability to be able to match them in the contested ball area. So, as I said earlier, because it's such a short turnaround break, we had to fly back from Perth. It was a pretty brief review, and it was just more about getting ourselves up and about for this week as quickly as we could.
One player that had a terrific game on the weekend, and he'll have his work cut out this week with Liam Picken coming to town, is Daniel Rich. He was very good on the weekend.
Yeah, he was good. It's one thing about Rich, I think he's had a pretty consistent year, but one thing he hasn't been able to do is, especially when he gets someone run with him, is continue to break the lines and just work hard.
Yep.
And we thought he did that really well on the weekend. Like, he made his opponent work really hard on him, and we used him quite a lot, and some of his delivery inside 50 was as good as I've seen from him. We just weren't able to capitalise on his ability to break the line. So, Rich has had a pretty good year, and I think he's starting to get a bit of assistance down there with, young Alex Witherden, and, even young Cedric Cox showed a little bit on the weekend, and Sammy Mays has had a good year, so it hasn't been left to him on his own, which he probably has been the last couple of years. He's got a bit of support around him, and he's able to free himself up a little bit, so we're going to need his run and drive against the Doggies this week, and as you said, Liam Picken, does play as a defensive forward at times, and he's quite good at it, so, Richard will be... we'll need to be up and about against him this week.
Can you compare where you're placed now, and you're just talking about managing workload, etc., so you'll have a couple of guys bit fresher and a bit more experienced as well too in taking on the Bulldogs after what happened early on in the season, where led by 5 goals, got run down, but you can take a bit of self-belief into this game to say, well, hang on, let's try to finish off a job that we started early on in the year.
Yeah, it's a good point. We actually match up quite well against the Dogs. Excuse me. We beat them a couple of years ago up here, and they've beaten us the last 2 times, but they've been pretty close games, so to speak. Like the last game, they beat us by 32 points, but as you said, we were ahead at half-time by 30 points and three-quarter time by a goal, and they overran us, and it was Rob Murphy's 300, so I think they might have copped a bit of a spray at half-time, but we finally match up quite well against them. We can match them around the stoppages, and we can use the ball quite well against them, so we have got a little bit of belief, and it is interesting. We had a bit of a meeting on Tuesday, and one of our young guys brought up about how well we played against them last time, and that we should go into this game full of confidence, and the fact they're travelling over here, and so it's quite good to see our young players seeing that and seeing what we can do against them. So we've just got to go out and play our natural game, and what we've done at the Gabba in the last few weeks, which has been pretty solid form. So yeah, we're going with a bit of confidence.
Good on you. Thanks, Danny. Good luck on Saturday afternoon, mate. Thanks for being with us this morning.
Thanks, boys.